asset manager you should set up, uh, which asset manager you should set up. So you can decide from these parts like type of scheme. You can see FME, what should be the form of the FME. It can be company, LLP or branch. But the third cannot be a LLP. It has to be company or a branch. So minimum net worth, as I said, 75,000, half a million and 1 million. So accordingly, you can decide what kind of FME and what kind of things are there. So when you say branch means you have to have a branch of, you can be a branch of any other entity which is regulated in its jurisdiction. So when you are saying branch, so branch has to be a regulated entity in India. Like you are already a fund manager in India of some other SEBI registered fund, then you will qualify to put up a branch over there. You cannot be a simple private limited company and put a branch there. That would not be the purpose. So you have to be a regulated entity in other, like, and it not only for India. Suppose if you are a regulated entity in any other foreign jurisdiction also, then also you can register, you can come as a branch. And in that case, they will see the net worth of the parent company. So now type of investors. So each, you can see each of fund manager, what kind of investors they can use for their funds. So that is written there. Accredited investors, they can invest any amount. There is no threshold for them. The investors who are not accredited, for them in first category, it is $2.5 lakh. Others is $1.5 lakh. So similarly, there is a discount, or you can say relaxation on the investment by the employee, director and designated partners of FME. So they have a reduced threshold. So accordingly, you can see what kind of, how you want to do, and all these things can be easily compared. So minimum employees. So I think there may be some change. We'll hear from Manishji more on this if there is some change on this, recent changes. So as I said, you are compulsorily required to be there in GIFT City. A physical presence in office is required. You have to have a GST number. You have to have placed your person in GIFT City. All those things has to be done. So minimum employees, so it requires one principal officer. In second category, it requires one principal officer and one KMP. And third, it requires two principal officers, one principal officer and two KMP. And similarly, if you say directors, there is no specific requirement, but for retail FME, registered FME retail, 4 director, 50% to be independent of FME. So these are the requirements in the FME regulations, and you'd find a good read if you want to. Launch of new schemes. When I say launch of a scheme, means you can launch new funds immediate upon filing of PPM, and rest is in third category. You would see that you have to wait for the comments from the IFSC, and then you have to include those comments if they have any. So as far as experience of the people are concerned, the minimum. So for first two category, it says relevant experience, but in case of third category of FME, fund manager entity, if you want to establish, then these kind of experienced people are required, who has minimum experience in managing an asset greater than 200 million with investors above 25,000. So that kind of person is required. So now you can understand whether for first and two, there is no problem in any kind of person, but third, you have to see whether you have such a professional in your team. So this is about target corpus, means you are an asset manager. This is called skin in the game. You are an asset manager and you are launching a fund. So how much your skin is in the game? So that is minimum, how much minimum amount investment manager has to put in corpus of the fund. For example, you are launching, let us say 100 million fund, 10 million fund, or whatever it is. So if it is a less than 30 million fund, if you are launching, then 2.5% of the target corpus you have to put. Maximum you can put 10%. So similarly, in other kind of FME, you see the limits are there. And if the target corpus is above 30 million, then minimum you have to put 7.5 lakh dollars and 10% of the FME. So whatever it is, you can see. So that kind of skin in the game is required from you. So before launching a fund or launching a scheme, you can see that these kind of monies would be required from asset manager. For angel fund, so in Gift City, many angel funds are active. They are doing good amount of transactions. And for angel scheme, minimum FME contribution is 2.5% of the target corpus or $20,000, whichever is less. And contribution requirement to be fulfilled by FME or its associate within 45 days, unless exempted to be maintained on ongoing basis. So all these things you can see that this kind of skin in the game is required by the investment manager. And these are the crucial things when you are structuring or deciding your funds in GIFT. So friends, that was about the investment manager. Three types of investment manager you could have set up. And those FMEs can launch these three types of funds: venture capital funds, restricted scheme, non-retail and retail. So now that was the comparative about the asset managers, and these are the comparative about the funds. What are the differences and how can you do it? If you see, the legal structure of a fund can be a company or an LLP or a trust. But in case of retail, where you can launch mutual funds and all those things, it has to be a company or a trust only. It cannot be LLP. So type of scheme, the first category can be close-ended. For example, if you are putting a category 1, so you can, or category 2, it can be close-ended or open-ended. And similarly, retain can be open-ended and close-ended. So totally you have to decide upon that what kind of fund you want to. So it would be a part of your strategy, what kind of thing you want to do with. So the corpus, I think the change on this corpus has come. We'll hear by Manish, from Manish on this. So the corpus was till now 5 million. For all the minimum corpus you have to target. Suppose if you want to set up a fund, so 5 million का तो करना ही पड़ेगा आपको corpus. That is the minimum. So it is when you say corpus, so it is a lifetime of the fund. Whenever you do a financial closure, it has to be 5 million. So this has reduced. So we'll see the latest one. So maximum number of investors in first category has to be 50. Maximum you can have up to 50. Suppose if you are launching a fund and you see that the number of investors you have are, let us say, 100, 300. Then it means you will not be able to do any venture capitalist. So आपको second category में आना पड़ेगा. Then you have to come to a second category, which is less than 1,000. So accordingly, you say the maximum number of investors. Suppose if your investors are less than 50, then you go for, and you are going to invest in only unlisted, then you can try with venture capital one. So minimum number of investors in a scheme, minimum number, maximum you have seen 50 and 1,000. Minimum is, there is no minimum requirement on first two categories. So minimum contribution from an investor in the scheme. So minimum contribution. So one of the major questions which people ask, how much minimum a person should invest? Can he invest 10 lakhs or equivalent to dollars? By the way, in Gift City, whatever investment takes place, it has to be in foreign currency. So you cannot say 50 lakhs or 20 lakhs. It has to be in foreign currency. Even somebody is investing from India, he has to get it through LRS. He will send the money to Gujarat Gift City account, fund account. So it will be remitted in account, US dollar only, or any other foreign currency, whatever is there. So the minimum investment a person can invest in these funds are $2.5 lakh, and as we mentioned earlier, this. So these are the thresholds where minimum these amounts are required from these investors. So key features of the scheme. So this comparison. So the tenure, what can be the tenure? So again, all these points, all these comparative points are a part of your strategy, and how returns you want to give and how you want to invest and all your investment profile. Everything would depend upon your, structuring would take care of everything. So like the tenure minimum is 3 years, extension up to 2 years with consent of two-thirds. So minimum is 3 years. Similarly, for that close-ended fund, it is minimum 1 year. So like you can see, there is a tenure provided for it. So depending upon what kind of tenure you want to see, that you can select accordingly. Investment in unlisted, there is no restriction in case of first. Open-ended, maximum 25% of the corpus, and close-ended scheme if you're launching, then no restriction. Investment in associate, permissible subject to 75% investors approval. I think there is some change on this also. We'll see from Manishi. So at the moment in this presentation, it says permissible subject to 75% investor approval by value investment in associates of FME. Means if you are if the fund is investing in a company related to FME, then so that's why it requires 75% of the investors approval. So valuation, every fund has to do valuation of their portfolio, their units. So the valuation is, in first case, it is the frequency. Every year you have to get the valuation done. In second category, close-ended, you have to do half yearly, and open-ended, you have to do monthly. And in third category, you have to do daily and open-ended daily and close-ended weekly. Now, this is important from the point of view because it incurs cost. So many who launch a fund, they do not consider the cost involved annually. So if you are doing fund, so the valuation of frequency would incur little bit more cost. So you can see all those things when you are setting. So this is leverage. Leverage is permissible subject to disclosure in PPM in first two categories, and third category it's not permissible. Custodian compulsory if asset under management is greater than 70 million in both the cases, and in third case it is permissible in any case. So friends, this was about the FME and the features of and the funds and the brief about the FME. And now we will go on to the next session where Manishji will be telling us what recent changes have come in this and how they are impacting. So I will stop here and we'll take questions together. And I will request Manishji to please have his deliberation and let us know.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Samir ji, for your nice introduction to me. And I'm very much thankful that having me here at to present the recent amendment and the operational aspect. I would just like to introduce myself quickly that I'm a chartered accountant, almost having more than 8 years of experience into fund management activities, and I am based on the gift cities since last 5 years. So, witnessing evolution and the development and growth of the gift city. I would also like to say thanks to regulator and the gift city authorities for the providing us world-class infrastructure and ecosystem for the financial sector. So just I begin with recent amendment which is proposed and yet to gazetize into the publication by the IFCA.
तो मनीष जी एक मिनट में आप थोड़ा सा अपने ग्रुप के बारे में बता दें, आपका ग्रुप क्या है, कैसे कर, थोड़ा सा अबाउट योर कंपनी आल्सो.
Yeah,
So it will be good for audience to know about it. Thank
so
you.
I'm representing 361. We are the mutual fund AMCs based on Gift City. We are also having Pan India and outside India presence. I am the vice president and handling portfolio management here. I'm just quickly sharing my PPT.
Yeah, please.
Is my screen visible?
ख्याल से आपका स्क्रीन भी नहीं है. हाँ, अब yes, yes.
Is
You
my
can put it
screen
on.
visible to
हाँ,
everyone?
हाँ, presentation mode पे डाल दीजिए आप इसको. Yes. हाँ, yes. Okay, good.
Thanks, Samir ji, because you have already covered major part of the fund management as of now, which is in force. And now I am taking care of the recent amendment, which is proposed to be enacted into the fund management rules 2022. So the basic whole idea of the regulator and the ecosystem authority provider to simplify the fund management process, enhance investor protection, and foster the industry. So all this new regulation is for making ease of business and inviting larger industry player to come into Gift City. So I quickly run through the presentation for the non-retail scheme. The proposed amendment is for corpus reduced from 5 million to 3 million. As you seen in Samir's presentation, it was 5 million. Now it is reduced to 3 million. It will impact on FME business to ease of business and to easily come to the gift city. The scheme of PPT validity is also increased to 12 months. Earlier, it was 6 months. So, as and when we file the scheme for start of a fund, it will be required to make it operational for within 6 months. But now we are getting 12 months to get it operationalized. So, it is also ease of business initiative taken by the regulator for larger player to come into Gift City. Earlier, the skin of the game and the FME and associate of the FME contribution maximum restricted to 10%. Now it is increased to 100%. There is a condition for considering 100% contribution from the FME and associate that ultimate beneficiary owner should not be a resident of India and one third of corpus should not be invested to any one single company or associate companies. So it is also like a protection of investor to not to have any concentrative risks to highly done investment into one single investment. So it is also a very good initiative and it also create the ease of business for the industry. Joint investors and other specific relationship for non-retail scheme is also allowed. Uh, Earlier, alternative investment fund and the family investment funds was not clearly defined, and the categorization is a bit confusing. But now it is being clarified in the new coming rules. Restriction on the specific security transaction with the associate and the major investor without. So it is a creating transparency for the investors and also protecting the existing small investor that associate and other major investors cannot be directly done without approval of the existing investors. And the approval should be more than 75% of existing by value. As a major cost of concern that the valuation for the asset has to be done based on the category of the fund. Uh, it is being very much relaxed for the scheme which are investing into fund of fund and fund of fund is already being considered or being already taken care by the compliances of the other regulator. So valuation part is not required. It is a very great initiative and for us, we are into the mutual fund AMCs, so it will definitely help us. Now I'm considering a registered FME retail and retail scheme. So earlier to start with the Gift City setup of the funds, experience for handling fund management required more than 5 years. AUM managed more than 200 millions and at least 25K investor need to be catered. But now to ease of business initiative, it is being reduced to 50 million and investment base can be 1,000. as we have covered under non-retail, retail also having a similar corpus has reduced from 5 to 3 million, and quickly start their operation with 1 million, and they have a time to make it 3 million within 12 months. So this also a very initiative, business initiative by the regulator. Earlier, it was the ambiguity for the associate or the fund management entity should not invest into a single entity or the major chunk of the fund of the one associate or the one segment or one any sector. Now it is being very much clarified to minimize the risks. So investment cannot be more than 15% of total corpus, or cannot be more than index weightage. So this is also more clarity and guidance given by the regulator. Investment restriction on the retail scheme do not apply to the fund of fund scheme if underlying fund comply with the regulator. So it is also covered earlier that uh, uh, investment restriction was imposed on the retail scheme. If they are dealing with the fund of fund scheme, then the no restrictions applicable. So with this new press release, the FME requirement, which is the one of the premises to start or set up any fund here at Gift City. So earlier compulsory prior approval has to be required for the appointment of the KMPS based on the qualification mentioned under rule regulation 7 of the FME 2022 rules. Now the approval is not required from the IFFCA, but the impact of this proposed rule is the onus of the competency and the compliances of the regulation is given to the FME entity. So FME has a responsibility for the educate compliances. All KMPS has to be appointed as per the norms mentioned in the regulation 7. There's an additional KMPS requirement, uh, CAM, for the fund who is managing more than 1 million USD has to appoint additional KMPS to make it more accountable to the FME and FFCA units. The education and professional requirement is mentioned in the regulation 7. It is still streamlined by the regulator. They will come up with the detailed provision. Now FME has to give mandatory certification for the employee that they are ensuring the compliances mentioned under regulation 7. So now it is a self-governance scheme FME has to follow, and self-governing certificate they have to issue that the all KMPS who are appointed are within the compliances and within the norms mentioned by the IFFCA. It is also a very good move. The second, the cost minimization initiative has been taken, like a custodian requirement. So fund of funds scheme is already the other funds which are following the norms and issued by the SEBI or other regulator. So custodian requirement is not required for the fund of fund scheme. So it is applicable to MC like us, and definitely it will reduce our cost. And we welcome such initiative to ease of the business. Many funds who are the Singapore based or Mauritius based, they want to shift here at Gate City, and they have an existing custodian. So sometime it was the very difficulties to change the custodian and find out the new custodian. So this provision came that foreign custodian also being allowed as per the new norms with the, with the, uh, with the, with the, uh, with the, uh, with the, 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 with the compliances of the IFFCA regulations. many times it's happened that the 75 millions which is required for compulsory required to appoint a custodian. Now, as soon as your corpus is reached to this threshold, we get a 12 months time to appointment of the custodian. That is also a very big initiative by the IFFCA. And few other key matters like profit and proper criteria, which is will come into the detailed rules and regulation. Now the industry is telling major issues that the fund which is not deployed to any investment, what to do. It is not clear till now, but now these regulations came with the that we can keep idle fund into fixed deposit, or we can also do the liquid funds overnight scheme also. So this is also very much initiative. So accountability and transparency and business efficiency is also increased because of it. For PMS, earlier the investment required was the 1.5 lakhs USD. Now it is 0.75 lakhs USD. So the smaller ticket of the clients also invited to the PMS services, and they can onboard the investors. So this also increase the volume of the PMS services, which is happening here at Gift City, and also invite many new PMS to Gift City. Earlier, because of the ATLA rule of the that all operations should be done from the Gift City only, but few of the FME were having pan India presence, or also they are investing into India. So some of the marketing operation and other small supporting operation they required in India level. So IFFCA also come up with this regulation that they can open a representative office for the marketing without prior approval of the IFFCA. And certain provision like valuation of the credit rating agency, family investment fund scheme are regularized. It was not clear earlier. Now it is coming up with the new amendment. So we welcome all these new amendment for the booster of the industry and growth of the Gift City. Thank you. So Samir ji, just take carry on this,
Yeah.
or any question. I'm available for that.
Yes, yes, yes. So you can unshare your PowerPoint. Yes. So thank you, Manishji. It was really a valuable insight on the what is happening in the new amendments or recent thing have come. So before we go on to the questions, we'll just talk about, for the interest of the audience, there is one consultation paper which has recently come, which is live and which talks about allowing FMEs or the funds to have investment in SPVs. And other than SPV, they are allowing that SPV can have the co-investments with other investors also. So that is a new consultation paper which has come in, and till 31st January it is live. Anyone who wants, they can read that. It is on IFSC website and can provide their comments. What is, I'll just give in a 1 second what it says. Like for example, I'm a fund, and instead of directly investing in a company, I can open a separate SPV, special purpose vehicle, where it should be controlled by a fund only. More than 50 or 50% should be owned by the fund, and other investors can come in and that SPV can invest somewhere. So that has been especially provided in, that is in consultation paper, and we'll see how it comes in the final this thing, foreign regulation amendment. So this is forthcoming. I am just talking. It is not in function at the moment. It is forthcoming. So coming back to Manishji, Abhi, some gentleman has put a question. What happens if the fund does not reach the corpus, minimum corpus?
So it is a clearly mentioned in the law that we have to maintain minimum corpus, and we have to comply with the IFFCA guidelines. So this need to be attract by the IFFCA regulation, and also stay can be imposed by the IFFCA. So we have to be maintain our corpus as per the law.
Yeah. Agar, for example, there is a situation, the fund manager is unable to raise that fund. Anyhow, suppose he is not able to raise the fund. That is case with many people. Suppose they say, okay, we are going to set up a 5 million fund or 10 million fund. Let us say minimum is 5 million now. The 3 million is for authorized FME also, for a venture capital scheme, or it is for non-retail, or it is for all.
Or it is for all.
It is for, because I saw it for non-retail. So it is for authorized
It
venture
is
capital scheme.
it is mentioned for the both for retail also and for non-retail also.
Okay. So that is one thing because many of the people found it high. So I think that is good move to reduce the minimum corpus. So now there is one more question which says there is news in Gift City that there is new product like AIF SIP is also in consultation paper. Okay. Okay. SIF. Is it true, Acha? So I haven't seen, Acha, they're asking, is it true? I haven't seen
Yeah.
the consultation paper on that. The latest consultation paper which I have seen that is for SPV and co-investment. So probably
Yeah,
I'll check on
Samarji,
it and
Samarji, in the industry, it is a talk is going on that the SIP in AF also be can be started or can be done, but no consultation paper I am also aware about. So we have to wait till the official announcement come from the IFFCA.
so a lot of talk may be going on.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So there is could you please clarify on whether a single NRI, OCI or RI can resident Indian can contribute more than 25% of the total corpus in such case. So इन्होंने क्वेश्चन कुछ ज्यादा लंबा लिख दिया है बट एनीवे आई रीड इट इफ कैटेगरी 3 fund set up in IFSC would like to take FPI license from SEBI from SEBI to be considered in the applicant subject to the following. The contribution of a single individual must be below 25% of the total corpus. The 50% of total, however, the SEBI circular this is stated relaxes regulation. So could you please clarify as on whether a single NRI, OCI or RI can contribute more than 25% of the total corpus? So the main question is what they are asking, can a single person invest more than 25% of the corpus for a Cat 3 fund?
So, Samirji, what I understand, FPI license can be applied by the category 3 who are operating at Gift City.
Hmm.
So, my take is definitely the fund can be apply FPI license for the to SEBI from Gift City. And the second question that OCA or non-resident individual can invest more than 25% in corpus. So this again we need to check with the geographical presence of the non-resident and OCA, and the based on the regulation we have to deep down it, and after analyzing we can provide the concrete answer on it.
Okay. Okay. Because one thing is there that in Gift City, you cannot route Indian money back to India.
Yeah, round
So,
tripping is not allowed. That is
yeah,
agreed. But the question was, I what I understood that the FBI license can be taken by the category 3 fund
yeah,
who are present into Gift City.
yes,
My
yes,
answer is
yes,
yes.
yes. Okay, okay. Okay. So, when you are, since you are in Gift City and you are there since quite since the inception, I would say 5 years are too much. You are there. So, what kind of developments you have seen that do you find it is ready for the new people to come in and how easy it has become as compared to 4 or 5 years to set up fund there?
So I feel very gratitude that a very start of the Gift City. I'm here at Gift City. I'm witnessing the growth. Earlier, when I came to Gift City, there was only a two buildings, two premises was there. Now almost 16 to 17 premises are under development, and seven are operative. Many regulations clarity also came up. Many stringent provision which is barring many small player to come into Gift City also removed and relaxed by the IFFCA. Thanks to IFFCA regulator also that they are listening and they are proactively working on the development and the amendment and inviting new people to Gift City. Further, the GIF authority also provided the infrastructure which is equivalent to world class and the best roads and best facilities we are getting it. So definitely the growth of the GIF city in a coming 5 to 10 years is a sky high, and the person or a player who come early at GIF city will definitely get the benefit. So it is a purely a investment decision that how soon you start investing into Gift City, you will get more return based on the period.
So what change I have witnessed there, we are there for, Maniji is there for 5 years, we are there for now 2.5 years. So earlier, when you want to set up anything in Gift City, you have two regulators. One is SEZ and one is IFSC. So earlier we had to apply to SEZ separately and to IFSCA separately. But now I think we have a single window system. Still there may be some teething trouble, but lot of things have been resolved, and you need not to run to too many things. All have come at one place. Am I right, Maniji, on that aspect?
Yeah. So, as per the last budget, it is being declared that the IFFCA and SEZ also get merged, and the process is already been initiated, and the many activities for the initial registration also taken care by the both the authority as a single unit. Again, the IFFC also come up with their online portal Swift, where you can apply online. Everything is streamed online now. So without any hustle, any new FME can come and do their application part.
And one thing more, like the in PMS, they have reduced from $150,000 to 75,000. Do you think it would be a good, I mean, relax or benefit for the PMS operators? It would attract more PMS guys to launch PMS in Gift City.
Yeah, definitely, because the PMS client we for getting it, the ticket size was earlier 1.5 lakhs dollars, so it is being with little bit higher. Again, the PMS entity has to find out the investor outside India, as the Gift City is the foreign currency jurisdiction. So uh, getting the larger number ticket size player on their role is difficult. Now $75,000 is quite good initiative by the regulators. So the number of investor will increase, and definitely the PMS service industry will be furnished here at Gift City.
So those who are willing to, or who were planning to start PMS, they should be better off, and they will be easily, they'll be able to get the investors on their this thing. So I have, somebody has
Yeah,
posted one
Samir,
more
I
question.
just want to add one more thing, because
Yes. Yes.
city into the gift city, the trust of the foreign investor, they are able to get it because it is a regulated reason, and the regulator is very much clear about the rules and regulations. So it is become very easy the PMS to set here at Gift City and start a business with the minimum ticket size of 75,000
Yes. So
dollar.
I think few more questions are coming. As per IFA circular dated May 2024, 100% contribution from NRI, OCI, and an RI is allowed in FPI established through IFSCA and suggesting two routes. Now one can opt for alternative route one, under, and that can a single NRI, OCI, and RI contribute more than 25% of the total corpus of the FPI. Okay. Yes. Hi, Manish. Manish ji, kindly guide where can we get PMS info for Gift City?
So for the PMS info, please go through the Fund Management Rule 2022. There's a special segment available for the PMS. Entire guidelines is mentioned there. In case anyone is finding any difficulties, I can provide the guidance for it. And this can be easily accessible from the IFFCA regulator website.
I think in FME regulations you have it all.
Yeah, in that there's a special segment for the PMS.
Section. Yeah. So I think few questions are too long. I think that can be personally looked into and replied. But we have gone through the IFSC FME regulation, but very limited info. So your specific question, I think you can mail your specific questions. We can respond to that, because answering a particular question require various other facts and things to be seen. And so this Mehul, who is the Mr. Mehul, who is writing this, so you can send your question by email, so we can Manish ji or me can respond totally on that aspect. And though it may be limited info, but we'll get to the full, whatever your question is, whatever your guidance you need, we'll respond you by email. We can respond with that. So I think, Manish ji, we are end of our, we have the questions are now over with this, and it is really a pleasure to have you with us today. And I think with your input and your sharing what you have shared about your company, your what you are doing, your experiences, the participants would have definitely benefited. And I thank you once again and all the participants for attending this webinar. So we will see you in our next webinar next month. Thank you very much. Thank you, Manish ji.
Thank you, Samir ji. Thank you, everyone who have joined this seminar. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As India Juris, we aim to be the best place for the lawyers to work in and set up standards for the lawyers to develop their skills being in this law firm. We aim to provide high standard of international legal services to our international, global and domestic clients.
India Juris is having innovative strategies with regard to intellectual property rights disputes as well as international dispute resolution. And we are having a lot of milestones which we have achieved and about to achieve.
At India Juris, as a full-fledged law firm, we are advising corporates, startups for their advice on IPOs and further transactional matters.
As India Juris, we aim to be the best place for the lawyers to work in